Y'all remember that time I decided to go ahead and make a video addressing concerned apes concerning lack of diversity in Stardew Valley? Remember when I called out that mod that lightened Maru's skin and made her look like she was a goddamn 12-year-old? You remember how I said, yeah, the Stardew Valley community can be good, except when it comes to issues of race, in which case things get very ugly very quick? Well, remember when y'all absolutely clinically verified everything? I, as a therapist and future doctor of school to be a doctor of psychology, verified by basically confirming everything that I said was true about the Stardew Valley community. I remember that because it happened less than 48 hours ago. It's been a very interesting 24 to 48 hours ever since I dropped that video. I knew I was going to be in the minority when I explicitly made my point. I knew that because I have been a black nerd in this industry, specifically professionally, playing video games and everything like that, since I was yay high. I've been reporting and analyzing video games and pop culture media, along with the social phenomenons that can occur when these two mediums overlap. However, what I was not expecting in the slightest, nobody could have prepared me for this in any way, even with a time machine saying, bitch, this is gonna happen. I couldn't have prepared for the group admin's reactions. But first, before we get to those actions, let's go ahead and address specifically some of the comments, because a lot of people really showed their ass and really showed their racism. There is no, oh, it's just diet doctor racism. No, it's outright racism. A lot of the comments were like these, basically saying, oh, well, how dare you ask for diversity in a game that has dwarves and fictional creatures and talking animals. What I really liked is that even though there were many of us in the minority, we were still loud and we were still strong about this, and we called out the bullshit. People like to say, oh, well, it's fantasy, you know, you shouldn't expect diversity and everything like that. That's crazy. Why not? You guys use this argument every single fucking time they drop a new black elf in Lord of the Rings. Y'all lose y'all fucking minds whenever they add somebody black to the Star Wars universe. Completely fictional world. So I'm explicitly asking, why are these worlds so not diverse? Or to explicitly put it as one comment could not have prepared me for, specifically in terms of Stardew Valley, why does it have to be cracker country? Y'all would have been up my ass if I had been the one to say that, but I didn't say that, and I thought it was one of the greatest comments, and I just love you so much for this comment. And of course, as a black woman, femme, and non-man, I'm very used to being gaslit by other black nerds, specifically black men, who will lump in with the toxic majority and explicitly like, well, I don't have an issue with it, you know, so there's nothing wrong with the diversity in the game or whatever like that. Like, you know, it's an indie game, what did you expect? Exactly, it's an indie game. You guys keep saying, well, it's an indie game, what did you expect? Here's the fucking thing, because it's an indie games have a chance to do things that a lot of AAA games fucking can't, which is an opportunity for great diversity. Y'all can't keep saying it's an indie game and using that as an excuse, because it's a weak fucking excuse. Because then technically indie devs would have all the more fucking reason to add more diversity to their fucking video games. So it's an indie developer doesn't make any sense. It would make less sense, and this argument of course would naturally be had with a AAA game. So that argument doesn't hold water, and I'm explicitly telling you it's a weak argument, do better. However, I was proven both right and wrong about the Stardew Valley community, in the sense that for the great people in the community who weren't afraid to speak up for the minority, how everybody was confirming, yeah, no, holy shit, we get what you mean when you say that anytime you try and talk about your experiences as a black gamer in a predominantly white-dominated space, such as video games, but specifically Stardew Valley, things like this happen. I already made a statement before the admins locked the comments, which is ridiculous because they should have never had to do that, but you'll find likely that's going to happen on posts about diversity. People were just being so ignorant because they were being so racist, because they were just being so fucking toxic and proving me right. They had to shut it down. But there was something else that they did that I wasn't expecting. I'm just like, oh boy, they're probably gonna kick me from the group. I got an invitation to be a group expert. I've been in social media most of my life, and I didn't know that was a thing when it came to groups. So even though there are so many people who don't want me speaking up on the diversity and the lack of diversity, and everybody's saying, well, make your own game, absolutely, you're absolutely fucking right. I am gonna go ahead and make my game. So y'all can go ahead and look forward to that. And I was very flattered because this was my very first post in this group. Some of the people in this group may not want me to continue to talk about and speak my truth as far as like what I think could be better about the game, because I explicitly did say, I love the game, I like the game, I love the game, I just don't like and love the lack of diversity, much less the bullshit reasons for excusing the lack of diversity. Then there was one more thing that I really wanted to address, and it was explicitly my comments about how everybody in the game is a fucking redhead, especially a lot of the romanceable options or the hot non-romanceable options like Robin are. Somebody said that that was because it was a dedication to his partner. Concerned Ape is allowed to make a dedication to his partner any way he wants. Yes, he is. I completely agree with you. But Concerned Ape didn't make this game to play for himself. He made it for us. Apparently he made it for us. So yes, I can understand one or two characters, you know, having to do with his love interest, but like 30%, 40% of the roster? I'm gonna call that out. That's the lack of diversity that I'm explicitly talking about. Somebody in the comments explicitly said that Sebastian, like literally my least favorite character in the fucking game, my least favorite bachelor next to Shane, was supposed to be Concerned Ape's own self-insert. There was a great video by Solder Art dropped just 3 weeks ago on this topic. They gave some really good analysis as far as like which characters Concerned Ape seems to have injected more of himself into than the others. Even without him explicitly coming out and saying, yes, Sebastian is my insert character, there's a lot of inferences. Their backstories are very, very, very similar. But with that being said, even if Sebastian is just like 2% of Concerned Ape's self-insert, I think it's weird as fuck he gave himself a black stepdad to hate. I'm just fucking saying. I think it's weird as fuck that he made the mom a redhead, because I'm sorry, my job as a therapist in school to be a fucking doctor of psychology. I'm gonna call out shit like that. Y'all didn't help at all when you brought out that point about Concerned Ape being a self-insert for Sebastian, and then he made his mom a redhead, and he knows how bad everybody wants, and then his partner's a redhead as well. I'm sorry, like I'm not just gonna overlook that. Freud would have a field day, or a field research day, but tush. Anyway, it's too hot for this bullshit. I just wanted to come on here and address like what it all happened, because I know some people were very curious about it. I got a couple of new followers from all of this. Thank you. I appreciate y'all speaking up. But I especially want to thank the admins for making me a group expert. The admins were kind enough to validate my voice and say, no, your voice matters, and it's a strong one. It's strong enough to have an impact in our group. Thank you all so much. Thank you guys for all the follows on all my social media. I talk about other nerd content. You guys can follow me at JAXATTAXX. And again, as I put in my statement before the admins were forced to lock the comment, I don't care if I'm in the minority. That's fine, because the majority is literally gaslighting me. My education and my experience is too specific in the field of psychology and just existing as a human being to listen to the majority when I know I'm being gaslit. Shout out to the men's and the amazing people in the community for being on the right side of history with this one. And I'm gonna keep making more videos. A lot of people said they want to see more Stardew Valley content videos from me. If you guys have any genuine suggestions for Stardew Valley content that you want to see me analyze or talk about, please drop it in the comments. I'm always open for a happy and healthy discussion.